Today the report is coming out into the Clady bombing. At long last, these people are starting to get to the truth. That, unfortunately, 3 bombs were left in Clady in 1972, killing 9 people. 4 of them Catholics, 5 of them Protestants. Not that that makes a difference, they were innocent people. There was women and children there murdered. Now, there was a priest involved in that, and indeed there can be quite possibly more than one priest involved. But at long last, the truth is going to come out. Will we hear Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness, especially Martin McGuinness, the great Catholic church-going man that he was, which he writes about in a number of books, and even some IRA men said on a Sunday morning Martin McGuinness would get them up for to go to Mass. I wonder who his priest was. Was it Father Chesney? But anyway, these people at long last are getting to the bottom of what took place in Clady in 1972. The fact that the Catholic Church, now this is not a priest or a bishop, this is the Catholic Church conspired with the British government to get this man offside. Because we're talking about 1 bomb here, 3 bombs. There's 1 incident. It is well known within the security forces that there was a number of other incidents that this individual was involved in. He just wasn't a one-night wonder. He was actually the leader of an IRA unit. Now that is an awful indictment on our government, and indeed more so on the Catholic Church, that they allowed that to take place, and they actually allowed him to continue practicing as a priest, knowing that he was a mass murderer. People are missing the whole point here. They moved him to another part of Ireland. They moved him out of Northern Ireland and moved him into Southern Ireland. Does anybody honestly believe that that man gave up his beliefs? He's only after being involved in mass murder in Clady, and he's been given clearance by the Catholic Church to continue practicing as a priest. What sort of church would allow a mass murderer to give people confession? But then again, that leads us on to the next point that we'd like to make. As some people already know, we have compiled a dossier on at least 20 priests. Now there's a lot more, but we only work on evidence. We only work on facts. There's at least 20 priests who were involved with the IRA in one form or another. Let it be moving ammunition and weapons, let it be giving them safe havens, or let it be involved in actually carrying out murderous acts. And indeed we have one situation where the priest actually threw a party for the IRA men after they come back from murdering a woman. They had a party in the priest's house. Now the Catholic Church needs to come clean. We're not going to spend 30 years here the way the people who were affected through the paedophilia. We are not going to spend time like that trying to get an answer from the Catholic Church. We are asking them to do the decent thing and come forward and throw their books open. Because if they don't, they're going to tarnish every priest. And we're asking the Catholic Church, we're asking the Pope to actually say to the Catholic Church in Ireland to come clean. Because we know about the priests who in America raised money and sent thousands of detonators and other mercury tilt switches over to the IRA to murder Protestants and Catholics. Because remember, these people murdered Catholics as well. But hopefully this will be the start of the end for the people in Clady, where that the Catholic Church will now come clean and start to tell the truth about what went on. And as for the British government, well, that's no surprise. What Willie Whitelaw did, they've been doing it on our community for 35 years and are still continuing to this day to do it. Only we were that silly we believed that our government would do the best for the people of this country. Not for the Protestants, but for Protestants and Catholics, that they would do what was right. Little did we know that they were actually doing what suited them and allowing mass murderers to get away, actually helping them to get away. The police were not allowed to go in and search priests' homes, so we're better to store weapons. There's no point me going on about this here, because there is a list of stuff that if people go out and research it, they will find it there themselves. But is it any wonder that IRA men could carry out acts like they did? Acts of taking individuals away for a number of days and torturing them, brutally torturing them before they murdered them, whenever they could go to a priest and he would forgive them for their sins. There's something seriously wrong in that system, because it shouldn't work like that, especially if the priest is one of their own who's also responsible for mass murder. How can that work? People wouldn't believe what was going on with the paedophiles within the Catholic Church until it was finally exposed. The people just could not ignore it any longer. Well, we're saying this will be the same with the Catholic Church, and the sooner they come clean and the sooner they throw their books open and give all the information that they have on people connected with terrorism who helped the IRA, the better. And a lot more will be thought of the Catholic Church if they do that, rather than try and hide away from this, because they're not going to be allowed to hide away from this. 20 years ago they might have been able to hide away, but because of groups like ourselves, no longer. If our politicians won't say it, we'll say it, because as the people on the ground who suffered it, we want answers. We want answers to these questions. Like the people in Clary, all they wanted was the answers. But personally, I think now they should go after the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church were actually in collusion with the IRA in that act, and they hid these people after they carried it out. So the people in Clary will make up their own mind. Personally, I believe they should sue the Catholic Church for their involvement in terrorism. All we are asking here for is equality when it comes to justice, and the same type of justice that anybody else would be entitled to. Catholic Church, we would ask you not to try and hide this, because it will come out. So we'd ask you now to do the decent thing and relieve a lot of the suffering of our community and let them come forward. And even the priests who, in the confession boxes, took the confessions of mass murderers and cleared their sins, they should now come forward as well, because there's no justification, especially if you talk about the Lord. The Lord gave nobody the justification to continue to forgive people for mass murder. How many times do you have to forgive somebody? And unfortunately, that's why these people were able to go out and do it again, because they believed their sins was cleared. The Catholic Church is ripe with terrorists. If they weren't forgiving them, there's a number of priests were helping them. And all we're asking here for is the Catholic Church to come forward and tell us the truth, how much of it actually did go on, before we find it out ourselves.